Okay, now I'm going to create a new enum called shipping method. Note that because enum is a new type, we need to define it at the namespace level. So now if we don't set any values to the members of this enum, the first member is going to be automatically set to 0. And from there, every member's value will be incremented by 1. Now, in terms of best practices, I suggest always explicitly set values for these enums, because it's very likely that somewhere in your database, you might have a table that represents this enum. So you want to make sure the IDs or the values you assign to these enum members match to the records you have in the database. If you rely on the automatic value assignment, and sometime in the future add a new member to this enum, the value of some of the existing members may change and may no longer match the records in the database. So, okay, now we have a new enum, it's a new type, and we can use it when declaring a variable. So in the main method, and here we use the dot notation. Note that IntelliSense shows us all the members in this enum. So let's set it to express. Now I told you that internally an enum is an integer. So I can easily cast that to an integer if I want the numeric value of this enum. So let's display the numeric value of this shipping method on the console. So I put method here, and then cast it to an integer. Let's run the application. So the value of express is 3. Now there are times that you receive a number from another system. It could be your database, or it could be a third-party application supplying some data. And you need to convert that number, that integer, to a shipping method in your application. In situations like that, again, you can use casting to convert an integer to a shipping method. Let me show you what I mean. So imagine we received the number 3 from somewhere else. And we want to convert that to a shipping method. So we can use casting, shipping method, and put method ID here. Let's look at the result. So you see, the number 3 represents the express shipping method. So these are 2 examples to convert an enum to and from an integer. What about the strings? There are times that we need to convert an enum to a string, or get a string and convert it to an enum. Let's take a look at 2 more examples here. So I'm going to convert this method here to a string. So method dot, look at these methods here. Every object in C# has a method called toString. So technically, you can convert anything to a string without doing any extra work. So all I have to do here is just to call the toString method. And when we run the application, we're going to see express on the console. There you go. Look at the 3rd line. Okay, now as a tip, console.writeLine by default always calls the toString method on any value you pass to it. So in this example, even if I didn't call toString, console.writeLine would still convert that enum to a string. But in case you're not using console.writeLine and you want to explicitly convert that enum to a string, then you can use the toString method. So I'm going to revert this back. And final example. What if we have a string and we want to convert that to an enum? Again, the reason could be we have that string stored somewhere in the database or in another system. So something like this. We need to convert this method name to a shipping method enumeration. How do we do that? Well, before I show you that, I want to introduce you to a new term, parsing. Parsing in programming means getting a string and converting that to a different type. So we say we parse the string, which means we convert that string to a different type. So technically here, I want to parse this string into a shipping method. How do we do that? Well, we have a class in .NET called enum. This class is defined in the system namespace. So if you don't have using system on the top of your file, you need to add that here. Now this class has a number of static members. So if you put dot here, we can see its static methods. And look, here we have a method called parse. Let's look at the parameters of this method. So open the parentheses again. So this method has two versions, which we call two overloads. The first one takes 2 parameters. The second one takes 3 parameters. Let's take a look at the simpler one. So the first parameter is a type object. What is a type? Type is a class in .NET that represents metadata about other types. As a pragmatic tip, whenever you see the type object, you can use the type of operator. So look, type of, this is a keyword, this is an operator, and takes a parameter. So here we need to specify the target type that we want to convert this string to. What is the target type here? Our shipping method. So shipping method here. Now look at the second parameter of this method, string value. So here I pass method name. Now look at the return type of this method. It returns an object. It does not return a shipping method. So we need to cast this object to a shipping method, which means I go to the beginning of the line, use cast here, shipping method. And now I can store the result of this expression into a different variable. Let's call it shipping method. I forgot the semicolon. There you go. Now, if I hover my mouse over var, look, the type of our variable is a shipping method. So this is how you convert or parse a string to an enum or enumeration.